This tweet, this tweet got a lot of people talking. She had over 27,000 quote retweets, and she simply asked the question, when did you realize he hated you? This goes along with that tweet that was going viral a few months back when men were talking about how much they hated their girlfriends or wives. It is quite disconcerting that so many people remain in relationships, but we've seen them use women as emotional support humans or trauma dumpsters. So, yes, I can see and understand them staying in relationships where they actually hate them. So, let's see what some of these people say. And Goofy says, this is probably one of the most terrifying threads I've seen. Men have put women through the most awful things. Wow. Why is it so difficult for men to leave the women that they don't genuinely fancy alone? Cola Booth says, because the men are in a contest that is tabulated by how many vajayjays they poop. They operate in a whole other mental state than women. Men can totally hunt us and never see or know us. These types of men don't fancy anyone. The women want love. They're desperate for a mate, sadly. So Susie Q answered the question. He poured ice cold water over my head for squeezing his hand too tight while in the hospital as I was having a contraction, having his child. My nurse couldn't believe it. We threw him out. A spoonful of pain says he got mad at me every time I had a seizure. Josh says, I'm honestly not coming for anyone any type of way, but out of curiosity, I have to ask, why do some women stay with men who treat them like absolutes? Not victim blaming. I'm just curious why you don't move on as soon as you see repeated F boy behavior that in no way is love. So Nsar says, I'm just as curious. I've read so many here and noticed some girls still stay in the relationship. Josh says, hell yeah, the replies definitely help make it make sense. Had to realize that women go through completely different socially and have different pressures and expectations. All the replies to my tweet help create a clearer picture for me why it's hard to leave. Plus, women are conditioned to give second chances and be empathetic and be caring and stuff. It's something that women need to stop putting on their daughters to do. We've got to break that cycle of empathy and like have some self-preservation because too many of us do not have self-preservation. Mommy Pig says, long story short, because I've invested in you as a person, and especially with an abusive person, you invest a lot. We want to see a return. We want the love we've shown to be given back to us by the person we have given it to. Rihanna and ASAP's love child says attachment, hoping the person will change or mature, constantly justifying their behaviors in efforts to understand it or him. He was just in a bad mood. He won't do it again. I can't give up on us just for this. He can be so good to me other times. It's my fault too because Lizzie Perry weighs in. She says, when he attempted to ghost me after 6 months official, then told me he had to do his laundry instead of having the breakup talk with me. Ann Boylan says, when he told me I probably liked it when I was being great. Pulp Princess says, trigger warning. I have been super depressed, self harming, and thinking about self deletion. And he cheated on me for the second time. I mustered up some self respect and told him I couldn't be with him anymore. Wasn't good for me. I emotionally couldn't handle it. And he told me to self delete. This next response is very triggering. There's DV. Keisha BG says, when I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant, my ex told me to get us an abortion because he didn't want the baby anymore. I said no, and he beat me so that the baby died. Never got pregnant once since then, and even with special operation, chances of me getting pregnant after that are 2%. This person says, Jesus, I don't even know. You ladies should post the pictures of these men so we can all avoid them. Can someone start a database or something? Natalie says, when he bragged to his friend about giving me a double black eye, and they said, damn, you really put her in her place while I was cooking them dinner. Scorpio's Groove says, when he lied that he was sick and borrowed money from me, only for me to find out that I was helping sponsor his vacation with his other girlfriend. The softest hood says when he started yelling and screaming at me, saying, "What the F? What the F is wrong with you?" because I attempted self deletion after he was physically abusing me. Bonk Priya says, when he broke up with me on Kick when I was in Disney World, I cried for 4 hours in the bathroom of a hotel I was staying at with my family. And then he asked if he could self pleasure to me on FaceTime. Erica Kane says, the first time we were getting intimate, I was battling cancer. And he saw my surgical scar around my neck where the tumor was removed. And the first thing he said was, "Ew, what's that?" Or maybe it was immediately after knowing he took my V card and he says something along the lines of, "Okay, so now when are we having a threesome?" Gooligan says, "Me, be nice to me." Him, if you have to tell people to be nice to you, you need to take a look at yourself because you're actually not that pleasant to be around. Me, then why are you with me? Him, I guess I hate myself. And this is the last screenshot I'm going to do. Jennifer says, he told me I wasn't educated enough, didn't make enough money to be considered equal to him. He just wanted to be with me because he knew he could manipulate me. That was 10 years ago. I now hold more degrees and make more money. Also, married a kind man who would never do that. Ladies, we need to keep saying to each other and to ourselves that you deserve better. We need some self preservation. If people talk to you like you are their worst enemy, they do not deserve you. They don't. If they are emotionally manipulative, if they physically harm you, if they do anything that you would tell your friend to leave, if you would tell your child to leave, you need to take that advice for yourself. Women need to get a backbone. We need to put ourselves first. We need to decondition ourselves to have this much empathy for other people and think that they will improve after a while because we're seeing so many examples that they do not improve, they escalate. Once they know that you will accept their behavior, they know that you are their their punching bag. They know that they could do whatever they want and simply give some half-hearted apology, and you will be right there because you are so willing to see the best in them. Stop seeing the best in them and see them for who they really are. And I know that that can be chaotic at times with the manipulation tactics that they have, but at some point, you need to come first. Your self preservation, your mental health, all of that needs to come first. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you have any stories to share? Let's reprogram ourselves to stop doing this, stop accepting these behaviors. Jump in the comments, like, comment, share. Y'all know that male loneliness crisis that they've been talking about for the last year and a half now. I believe that a lot of it, maybe most of it, is these men's own doing. Like, let's look at this tweet from Dante's. He says, Laura and I broke up. While I could sit here and try for hours to explain the reason why, it all comes down to one simple truth. I'm not ready for a relationship. From the get go, I told her that my career would be my first priority. She always did everything she could to accommodate that fact, whether it be bringing me food, supporting me after a bad day, encouraging me when I was down, or just being an ear that could listen to all my problems. She was, in all ways possible, everything I ever wanted. The problem is, however, that relationships are about compromise. Seeing her take steps back in her own life and career in order to support me while I was unwilling and unable to do the same for her is just something that over time took its toll on me mentally. I just came to the realization that the very foundation of what relationships are wasn't something that I was able or willing to do, and as a result, made the decision to end things. I won't pretend that I know if I made the right choice or not. The only thing I can say is that I'm eternally grateful for the time and love we shared. At the end of the day, I'd rather live regretting a choice that I did make than go through life always second guessing myself. Going forward, I only ask that you show her nothing but support since she was always the one who gave her all with understanding me and trying to work through everything. Thank you. Now, How many times have men like this poured so much into work, forgetting about family, romantic relationships, everything else except their job? I believe that this is one of the main reasons why deaths of despair are mostly men and why self deletion is mostly men, because they give and give and give to other things other than their relationships without any balance. This man had nothing bad to say about his relationship, yet he chose his work over building a relationship, which is perfectly fine. That's his choice. But recognize, looking on down the line, what that can look like when there's no balance. When you have poured yourself into your building of your career and you have nothing to show for it. You got all the money, you got all of the things, you got all the trinkets and everything, but there's no balance. And I say this with as far as just about anything. Relationships should have balance. You can create long lasting relationships and still be successful if you keep things into some kind of proper perspective. But emotional intelligence isn't everybody's strong suit. This person at the bottom just simply said, sounds like you wasted the poor girl's time. Basically, that's it. And with that, I'm going to segue to Mr. Attractive. Keep in mind, June is Men's Mental Health Month. And with that, let's read this tweet from Mr. Attractive. He says, "You not severely depressed, brother. You just need to hang around with a real thick shorty with a good heart." Now, this post got a lot of people talking. And he said, like, what, 2 or 3 days later, man, this tweet was not supposed to anger so many folks, especially since I thought it was obvious it was in jest. But I will let y'all continue to be mad at me. Have a great night. And don't forget to open your butt cheeks when you shower and scrub. Okay, the thing is, even when these people are supposedly joking, there is truth laced into those jokes. This is what they really do. They believe that their emotions should come out in the form of orgasm or pleasure. They do not have the emotional intelligence to put things into proper perspective. And instead of learning how to handle that, they dump it smack dab on a woman or want to. Like my friend Therese said, using women as emotional support humans, like emotional support dogs, but emotional support humans. And this is literally what they do. But more women are pulling away from that position of being a emotional trauma dumpster. Let's look at some of the comments. Q says, this works 100% of the time. And Mr. Attractive says, literally, and he put 2 exclamation points. These people are serious. They may be tongue in cheek, but they are so serious with it as well. The women are not having it though. Cosmic Princess, and I'm just going to do some of the quote retweets. Cosmic Empress says, see, and that's y'all's problem, trying to fix your inner issues with the bad bee, vampires. This is a man. He says, no, you're actually severely depressed. And that real thick shorty with a good heart is not your emotional mule, nor is she paid to do so. Go seek a professional therapist. Signed, a man who actually sees a professional therapist monthly. Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Rip Bayless says, no, B, go to the doctor. Virgo's Groove says, saying this during Men's Mental Health Month is something. Jez says, just a reminder that men use women to do their emotional work. I bet you 100% of the time they will ruin that woman. This person, Mimira, says, no, go to a therapist or counselor and leave us be. We are not Fix-It Felicias or Bob the Builders. Big Gatto says, this is Men's Mental Health Month. Remember that getting support isn't the same thing as distracting yourself from your emotional needs. Hope this helps. This person says, please stop using women to dump your trauma onto and just go get therapy or, yeah, I'm not going to repeat that on Men's Mental Health Month. Your local food dealer says, nah, you're depressed. Get some help before you F up somebody else's life. Hilodi says, so on the infamous table, we have a thick woman with a good heart on one end, and on the other, we have a severely depressed man who's using her as an emotional crutch to trauma dump on her instead of seeking professional help that he knows he needs. Noted. Exactly. Go seek help. Don't dump on a woman. And then they dump on a woman and then wonder why women are pulling back or have negative things to say on these social media platforms.